Humans have no souls. Their entire consciousness is stored within an organ called the brain. They have no afterlife. This, of course, terrifies all the other races. There are 7 species that have ever reached a level of intelligence to leave their home planet. The first was ancient, their name long forgotten. They rose to touch the stars and lived among them for aeons. They loved the universe and all of the wonders within it. These ancients, the progenitors of our modern universe, no longer walk among us. It is said that all souls originate from a gift they gave to their progenies, of which we are all descended from. That ancient race is long dead now, whether through self made destruction, simple evolution, or a combination of the two. We do not know. What we do know is that they reside peacefully in the world after worlds, waiting for each and every one of our inevitable arrivals. Their offspring, gifted with souls, spread across the corners of the universe. They would give the gift of their souls to their children, who gave it to their children, who gave it to their children. Millennia passed, and though our species diverged and we forgot our ancient common lineage, we never lost the gift of souls given to us by our forebears. And then we rose to touch the stars and met one another again, our souls filled with joy. We did not know why, of course, but eventually, through sharing our stories and history with one another, we learned of this all. The exception to all of this is the humans, a small, bipedal, nearly hairless species from a small, rocky ocean planet they alternately call either Earth or Terra. The humans first rose to touch the stars 77 years ago when they stepped foot on their moon, and has never been the same since. At first, we expected joy once more. There had been a horrible war bleeding throughout the universe, but accords were signed and peace was declared. We all, whether or not we would admit it, were excited to experience the joy our grandparents told us was felt when a new group of souls touched the sky. But it never came. At first, we thought we had forgotten what it felt like, or that it was delayed, but when we came to greet the humans, we realized how wrong we were. It was a scouting group from the noble Palef Expanse, one of the main nations of the Palef race. When I first met them in person, they shook hands, made an agreement of peace, and laughed with the humans. But as soon as they returned home, the terror on their face was unmistakable. They were barely able to stand on their own 4 feet when they landed back home, muttering out a phrase that simply could not be true. They didn't have any souls. It couldn't be true, of course. How could they not have a soul? In every single species that has touched the stars, they were driven by their souls, their innate longing to reconnect with their lost cousin species, whether or not they realized it themselves. When we asked a human from one of their United Republics why they touched the sky, they just said, to prove that we could. They can't move on to the world after worlds. They can't. They never had the gift of a soul to help them and guide them. Their eyes, rather than being full of life and possibility, look cold to us, always watching, always analyzing. And yet, despite all of these things, they rose to touch the stars. They pierced the sky and rose to stand among the celestial comets and planets that move within it. Eventually, we learned that they could have a consciousness without a soul. Within their head, they had an organ called a brain, a slimy, patched together network of neurons, nervous tissue, and a handful of other internal body parts working together in a vile mockery of a soul. Brains on their own weren't unheard of course, but one on this scale was very much unheard of. Some small pests and insects had brains, but those had neurons numbering in the hundred thousands, nowhere near the scale seen in these humans. It was unthinkable that a brain could so accurately replicate a soul, let alone lead a species to touch the stars. And yet, there they stood. A meeting has been called between the leaders of all the nations of the souled races. For you see, our people have been growing so very scared. Many people think that the universe has abandoned them, that souls have stopped being given at birth at all. Others think that humans are the universe's way of recalibrating itself after the gift of souls the progenitors gave to us all. For scientists, humans are a marvel, proof that life could touch the stars without the need for a soul, and could thrive without the promise of the world after worlds. Their very existence uprooted the entire field. For everyone else, they are a terrifying threat. Humans have no soul, no promise of life or judgment after their death, no longing to be reconnected with their cousin species, nothing sane at all. Humans live and laugh and have joy all while living on a mushy, false construct in the vague image of a soul. They have no life after death, no connection to the rest of the universe's shared history, and yet they are here. They are here and they laugh, and they make us so very afraid.